Now, what fun do you think I have planned for my guests this weekend? I wonder. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, September the 9th, 2019, vlog number 132. And as you can see by the teaser, I had sort of an art attack at my place on the weekend. We had company over. We'll talk more about that soon. And we did some quilting related or textile fiber art. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on in the show. So let's move right into current projects. Today, after I'm finished doing the vlog, I'm scheduled to be at my first class of the fall at Ultimate Sewing, and it's my fantasy quilt class. And this is a class where we have these curves to sew, and that's one reason why I took the class, because I want to learn how to sew curves. Upon looking at the pattern and reviewing it, it looks like this is not going to be too difficult. But nevertheless, it is a skill that I think I need to learn, so that's why I'm taking the class. And I enjoy taking the classes. They're social, the instructors are excellent at Ultimate Sewing, and I'm with Donna this time. And if you remember, I mentioned Donna was the one that I did the class with from the Quilt from Hell, the black and white one. She's a really good teacher. She's very patient. All of her quilts, she likes to say, have a challenge. I like to say they're the quilts from hell, but nevertheless, I do learn quite a bit from her, and she's just a nice person to be around. Okay, so what else? Well, on the weekend, we had my art journaling class. We haven't met in the last 2-3 months over the summer. Well, we usually take a little vacation away from this, and we're back on track again. It's always the first Sunday afternoon of the month. And so this month, my ladies all got together and worked on their own projects. However, they did share their ATCs. They have a little exchange, as you know. And here's the ATCs that they made. And as usual, they're really lovely. So this one is by Anne. And I forget what the theme was. Maybe it's fall, because she's got fall written on here. This one actually is Dana's. It's got a Halloween theme to it. She actually did 2 ATC sets this month because she can't make our next class, which is in October. And the theme for that, of course, is Halloween or spooky or something like that. So she made hers in advance. Another one from this is Darla's. Very nice as well. And whose is this? This is Caroline's. Caroline's, I think it's Caroline. We've been calling her Carolyn for the longest time, and finally she corrected us, and it's Caroline. So we're idiots. This one was fun because it was a real experiment on alcohol ink. It's by Pat. And she used archive ink to stamp the words in, but it didn't really dry, so we sprayed it with a fixative, and that seems to be protecting it now. It did sort of melt a little bit into her alcohol inks, but actually I kind of like that effect. I think that's kind of interesting. Now here's one that's done by Gina, and it's a little interactive one, something a little different. You don't often see interactive ATCs, or at least I haven't. And you see, you just take that string off and it opens right up inside. I think that's really cute, and that would also make a really cute card to give to somebody as well. This is by Joanne. Joanne is our lady who is our queen of the ATC. She got everybody into these, and she does them all the time and absolutely loves it. So we look to her for guidance on these, and she organizes the themes and everything like that for the year. And this one is by Dana. This is her first one, the fall theme. Dana is new to our group. She was a little apprehensive about coming out because she as she says herself, she's a bit of a control person. She likes to have a plan, and she finds that, you know, the idea of doing art journaling where things are a little bit freer flowing kind of scared her. But I think she's really enjoying it, and I think she's really getting into it. And this one is by Kristen, who's into a Lawn Fawn stamps and dies kick right now. So she's loving that. And she does make a really nice little ATC with them. And so those were my ladies, and those were their ATCs for this month. And I always appreciate getting them. I actually do not participate in the ATC cards. And why is that? Nothing against them. It's just something I can't get into. I think it's because of the size. I like a bigger canvas. When you give me a small canvas, which is probably the same reason why I don't make a lot of cards, I'm not very good at miniatures. I like things bigger. That's just me. But these will go on my wall. I have special bulletin board placed for them, and I have quite a few, as I've shown you before. And they're really inspirational to look at. That's why I put them out. If I get a block, I just take a look at some of these ATC cards and go, hey, that gives me an idea. Okay, so speaking of ideas, always glean some new ideas from YouTube channels. So here's one this week. It's called Sugarido. It is a quilting YouTube channel as well, but this lady, I think, operates out of the Netherlands. And, well, just take a look. This week's YouTube channel is called Sugarido, and this is by a young lady who lives in the Netherlands. And at least I'm assuming she lives in the Netherlands. She does have a Dutch accent, and she does all kinds of things that go beyond just quilting. Yes, she does some interesting videos about quilting, but she also does different types of sewing for novelty items like sock puppets and pillows and cushions and wall hangings and all kinds of different things. And she's always showing you some very interesting tips and tricks that can help you become a better sewer or better quilter. So if you're interested in something that's a little bit lively, has an interesting spin on the quilting world and sewing world, then you're going to want to check out Sugarido. So the link for Sugarido is in the notes below. So is the URL for Stephen and Walter Live this past week. Our topic of discussion, if you weren't able to catch us this week, was about what was it about? I'm having a mental block. It was about politics or something. Okay, give me a second. Sorry about that. Must have been a senior's moment. We talked about fake news as being real. That maybe Trump didn't have it wrong or doesn't have it wrong. That really the news is fake. So if you want to hear our discussion that we had with lots of people, it got a little interesting this week. We had two individuals who decided to kind of hijack the conversation. Not a bad thing, actually. It was very entertaining. But we did veer a little bit off the topic. But anyways, you can check that out. The link is below. Next week on Stephen and Walter Live, our theme is, Are We Alone in the Universe? And yeah, I think this might generate a lot of very interesting discussion about things like if we ever had first contact, how it would change our lives, how it would change the way we see our global state, things like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week on Stephen and Walter Live. And of course, Stephen and Walter Live is at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Sunday. Okay, I've also have a link below for the Idiot Quilter episode 52, and I show you my little invention. Actually, it's not a new idea to me, but I did some research and I created something called a quilt sling. So if you're curious about what that is, check out the link to the Idiot Quilter episode 52. And we also have the Book of the Week link is below, which we'll come to in a few minutes. So that takes us to what's pissing me off this week. Okay, fall. That's what's pissing me off. All right. It's Canada. We get 2 months of summer. 2 months. And if we're lucky, out of those 2 months, we will have some weeks of really nice hot weather. Now, people will bitch and gripe about how hot it gets and the humidity and all that kind of stuff. I say suck it up, because we don't get it for the majority of our year in this country is cool to cold to freezing. So when we get nice warm weather, we need to celebrate. We need to embrace it completely, because it only lasts so long. And yes, today, September the 9th, 2019, got up this morning. The temperature is 10 degrees Celsius. Now, on the big scheme of things, 10 degrees Celsius is not cold. It's coolish, but it meant that I had to put on long pants this morning. I hate long pants. I like to wear my shorts as long as I can and my sandals. And I was going to put on my shorts and my sandals today, but I thought again about it and thought, well, maybe not. Maybe I should wear long pants. Now, it is supposed to get a little warmer during the week, which is nice, because technically we're not into fall yet. That doesn't happen till September the 21st. So we still have a couple of weeks of summer. And we need to milk the sunshine out of that as much as we can, because once the leaves start to turn and fall, the weather gets cooler, the days get shorter, it gets more dreary, and then before you know it, boom, all the leaves are gone. It's November, it is gray, and that's what we'll be putting up with, and of course snow, until about, March. So, welcome to Canada. If you've ever thought about coming to Canada and visiting us, great. Don't come except in July or August. All right? Unless you're somebody who likes to ski. Then sure. And of course, you're going to have to, if you really want to ski, you got to do that out in Banff, on the West Coast, because that's where the mountains are. So anyways, I'm a little pissed off about the fact that the weather's going to change, that it's not going to be nice all year round. I suppose I could become a snowbird and I could, spend 6 months of the year in Florida. No, I couldn't. I'm sorry. With what's going on with the United States these last couple of years with Trump, no way am I moving to the United States. Not in 1,000 years. I'll put up with the cold. Okay? Of course, there's other warm places in the world you could go to, and there are times when we do take advantage of that on our trips. But for the most part, well, here comes fall, and it's pissing me off, and I can't do anything about it because it's weather. It's God. What can you do? Suck it up, live with it, enjoy the colors, because the fall colors are always usually quite beautiful. Okay, moving on to product reviews. I bought a few things yesterday when I was at the store doing the art journaling class, and you've heard me talk about these before, but I really do love them, and that's the iCraft paper flowers. And they have quite a variety of these, and I bought quite a variety. I was low on these. I really like them because, one, they aren't that expensive. For a big box like this, $5.99 Canadian. For a smaller box, $3.99. You can't beat that price. You can get boxes that have fewer flowers in them by Prima, for example, $11.99, that kind of thing. So these are very reasonably priced. They are beautiful in their detail, and they're very moldable. And what I mean by that is if you need to, shape them a little bit in a certain way, they do shape very well. Very nice to work with as well. And that's by the same company that makes the kits that I have been featuring this year. Now, getting your hands on them might be something a little bit more difficult. The scrapbooking store that I get them from, Class Act, here where I live in Oshawa, Ontario, she orders them from India. That's where they come from. I have not seen them in any other craft stores that I've been around. And, craft stores, there's not that many of them these days. So how do you get them? They supposedly have a website, and I think they list it, but there's nothing on the website. It's useless. Now, I haven't checked it out for a while. I may have to check it again. Maybe they've improved it. So basically, they're in Mumbai, according to the back of the package, it says. And just get the reflection off. So if you want these, here's what I'd suggest you do. Go to classact.ca. Okay, that's CLASSACT.ca. That will take you to the Class Act website, which is the store that sells these, and you can probably order them online. Now, I'm not sure if Carol, the owner, has put those online yet or not. I think she probably has, and you can order them from her. I think her shipping prices are very, very reasonable, but you can also reach out to her and ask her about that, and I'm sure she can tell you. But right now, that's the only place I can tell you where you'll get them from. But I don't think you'll be disappointed in them. Even if you have to pay for shipping, and depending on what country you're in the world, what the exchange rate is, you might want to stock up on them because they are excellent, in my opinion. Okay? I haven't had any problems with them since I've been using them. All right, so that's my little plug for Class Act there, but I would never tell you about a product and review it in a positive way if I didn't use it myself and if I didn't really genuinely think it was good. I'm not doing any fake reviews, it's not fake news here. Okay, so what's that take us to? The book of the week. Okay, again, going through my stash of books. This is an oldie. It's again by that company, Memory Makers, which doesn't exist anymore, and it's called Scrapbook Borders, Corners, and Titles. I found this book really helpful when I first got into scrapbooking because, I wasn't really sure how to do like fancy borders or corners or what those were all about. Well, this book takes the mystery out of that, gives you step-by-step instructions, techniques, tells you what you need, and shows you all kinds of different ways that you can liven up your scrapbook pages with titles, borders, and corners. So, if you're just getting into scrapbooking or you need a refresher, sometimes it helps to look back on some of the techniques we may have used and forgotten about back when we first got into scrapbooking. It just sort of rejuvenates us a little bit. So it's a good book. I paid $29.99 Canadian for it when I first got it. So it's a good book, but it's not a cheap book. However, I have a link to Amazon.ca for that book, and it ranges in price depending on if you buy it brand new or used. And again, remember, I always talk about the used books on Amazon. I've had great luck with ordering used books. They look pristine for the most in most cases. So save a few bucks. So $7.22 to $30.67. That does not include shipping. And each seller has different prices for shipping, but it's available, and I have a link for it in the show notes below. Okay, so this brings us to this week's installment on our iCraft kit, the Tote Folio album, and this is our last installment. And in this installment, I'm doing my filing embellishing of the tote. So now we've come to the stage where we're going to do the final embellishing. And I've been trying to use up a lot of the pieces that are in my stash. I don't really want to go out and buy new things because you know what happens. You buy more and more, and you have more and more in your stash, and you never get to the point of when using them up. So I thought these kits would be a good way to use up what I already have in my stash. One of the things that I'll show you in a moment that I did, and I did this with one of the previous albums, was I used one of my Project Life kits. At the stage that I got into Project Life, I was collecting these kits, and I have quite a few of them. This is one of the mini kits, but I also have a lot of the full-size kits, and they have over 600 pieces in them. And I'll never, ever use all of those up. So I'm thinking, how can I incorporate these into some of these iCraft kits to start using them up? And mainly these kits are made up of journaling cards, title cards, and cards to put photos on as backgrounds. So I got out one of these kits, and I'm going to show you how I've used it in this particular project. Now you can see I've got my cover done, and on the top I just used some flowers. I love the flowers that iCraft makes. The same company that makes these kits makes these flowers, and they're really nice. They're paper based, but they're very flexible, very moldable, and I just love them, and they're very inexpensive too. You can spend a lot of money on flowers for embellishments, $11.99 up, These run at the most expensive for about $5.99 for a fairly large package of them, as low as $3.99. At least that's what the scrapbooking store I go to is selling them for. Also on this cover, you'll notice that I used a lot of the Tim Holtz wood, or not wood, but word chips. I forget what he calls these. I have a lot of these. And again, this is something that I don't use a lot, so I thought this might make a very interesting cover by creating, I don't know if they call this a word explosion or whatever, but I think it kind of adds to this. And I use them inside the album as well as sort of prompts for whoever would be putting things into this album, might use it as a title on one of the pages. So I think this turned out pretty good, and I did go around the word chips with some ink as well. And let's open it up. So we know we have our magnets right here, and we'll just open this up. And let's flip it over to the first page, and here we go. So on this inside cover, I debated whether I should put a pocket here or not, but then I thought when it gets closed over, things might drop out of it. So I just put one of those cards from the Project Life on here. I had gone around the card. I did this on all the cards. I went around them with some ink just to give them a shadow effect. And here's one of those Tim Holtz word chips right in here at the beginning. So this is an area where someone could add some journaling, or they could put in a picture or whatever. And throughout this album, I left lots of real estate available for journaling and places to put pictures. So I created a pocket out of one of these cards that came from the Project Life, and these are just a couple of the cards from Project Life, and just drop them right in here. And there's actually room in here to put other things as well. And there is potentially room here to do some more personalized embellishing for whoever would happen to have this album. I did some embellishing, but I've left areas where people could add other items. For example, here on this little spine part, you could easily put something there as well. And this album is thick enough in the way that it's designed that it will hold more 3D elements if you wish. So here I just put a background card and just spruced it up with some wood chips. Now, throughout this album, you're going to see that I use something else that I have in my stash and I don't use up a lot. Many times I have bought Graphic 45, especially Graphic 45, because I really love Graphic 45, collector's edition of paper sets. And those often come with stickers and with wood embellishments. That's what these little things are that are right here in the corners. So I thought, why not utilize those in the pages of the album? So you'll see in here, I use them as basically holders for cards. So here's a couple of these wood chip pieces. Again, I went around the edges with some ink, and you can see here, they act like a paper clip. They just hold these little journaling cards in here, very snug. I put a little glue at the top and at the bottom of each one of these, just enough to hold it. And I did use Gorilla Glue on this particular glue right here, the Super Glue Clear. I really like this. This really holds things nicely. It dries fairly quickly and it dries clear. And it's great for these kind of embellishments because some glues just won't hold them. So if you flip over the page, you can see other things that I've done. Again, utilizing the Project Life cards and some of Tim Holtz wood chip words. And I just picked whatever grabbed me at the moment. I didn't put a lot of thought into what phrases were here. I was just thinking that these are the type of phrases that you could apply to almost anything that you want to put into the album. Now here I layered the chips on both of these pages, these little wood chip pieces, and to make it into basically a paper clip is what it is. And it holds the cards very nicely in there. Did the same on this side. Oh, and here's one of the problems I told you about before. I find with craft cardstock, if you use double-sided tape, it doesn't always hold it down. I thought I had fixed all of these, but I guess this page I missed, so I will need to go in after I've shown this to you and put some Gorilla Glue on that particular page because it is not holding. One of the pitfalls of working with a variety of different substrates,
finding the right glue, the right adhesive to hold everything down. Here again, some more of those wood chips I put on here, pieces, they're not wood, they're just chipboard. And again, some more of those cards from the Project Life. And I did similarly the same thing here, and I did this throughout the album, and I added some of the words on top. Some of them I just left as, just glued them right down, flat page, but to enhance these ones a little bit, I used some of the iCraft flowers just off on the side. And again, there's room on here for an individual to add other embellishments if they so desired. Some more of these little clips here with the cards. And on the last page, again, one that's fairly blank for a picture, journaling, whatever, some of the wood chips in the corners and some flowers as well, and another pocket with a couple of cards in it as well. So when you're decorating one of these types of albums, don't be afraid to actually go into your stash and just pull out elements that you have in there. Okay, I got a problem here, people. Yeah, I got to fix that hinge on that one. But there we go. Okay. And so there you have it. That's the iCraft Tote Folio album. Something a little different. You can see the thickness here on the side. And there's still room for expansion. So it will hold quite a bit. So this was a lot of fun to make. A few little frustrations along the way. Again, this craft cardstock that some of these kits come with really is temperamental in the way that it can be held down with glue or adhesive. So as I said before, I found the Gorilla Glue is really the best for this kind of project. So I hope you enjoyed this particular kit, and I will have more of the iCraft kits, because there are more, in future videos.
So that finishes this series on the iCraft Tote Folio album. Next week we're going to start another kit. There's still quite a few of these kits left in the iCraft, and I don't know about you, but I'm enjoying putting them together. And I hope you're enjoying seeing the process. But here's the one we're going to be starting next week. This is the iCraft Cascading Mini Album. And if you see on the back here, it has a picture. It shows you kind of how this looks. So next week, in the first installment on this one, we'll be doing the actual basic assembly from the kit. So I hope you'll enjoy that. Okay, so that takes us to, what's it takes it to? It takes us to events in the past week. Okay, so update on my mother. We're having a bra crisis. Yes, a bra crisis. So I went over to see her last Tuesday, and while I'm there, she says to me, "Oh, could you get your sister to get me a couple of new bras?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." But I said, Lori got you some new bras like a couple of months ago. Kind of going through bras like you go through cake. Now, I know nothing about bras, okay, for obvious reasons. So I don't know, how often do bras wear out? Whatever. Well, it seems that my mother's losing bras. Not her, but the staff, the laundry staff in particular. Everything in the nursing home has to be labeled with the person's name on it, and they do it for you. When you get something new, a new outfit or underwear or whatever, you take it to them, you fill out a little form, and they put in these labels that are supposed to stand up to, you know, the way they wash clothes. Now, they are not gentle on clothes, and they warn you about this. They're industrial washers, and so they say, you know, when you're buying clothing for, you know, your parent or whoever is in the home, don't buy things that are really need to be dry cleaned or are a delicate wash, because they're not going to stand up. And that is very true. And yes, things do get misplaced in the laundry. But what I'm a little bit worried about is, well, bras are expensive, okay? So I said to my mother, "All right, Mom, how many bras did you have when you moved in here?" And she says, "Well, I think I had about 5. And I said, "Okay, so you had 5 when you moved in here 10 months ago. I know my sister has gone out at least twice and has bought you each time 2 bras. So 4 more sets of bras. That should bring you up to a minimum of 9 sets of bras. Is that the right word, or is it pair? I don't know. Anyway, or is it bras? Anyways, so that would mean, I said, so how many do you have right now? Counting the new ones my sister bought you. Just 3. All right, there's something wrong here. So I said to her, well, I will send a note off to the administration and mention my concern that, we're buying these bras and they're going missing. And these bras are about $42 a piece. So we're not talking cheap underwear here, all right? For me, cheap underwear is like if I can't get 10 pairs of underwear in a package for $3.99, it's just not worth it. Okay, call me cheap, but who's going to see it anyways? That just reminds me of, the old thing that mothers used to say, always make sure you have clean underwear on in case you're in an accident. If I was in an accident, I have a feeling that my underwear wouldn't be that clean, whether I was wearing clean underwear or not, after that, if you get my drift. But anyways, I digress. So I was going to send this email off this weekend, and they're excellent. I have no complaints. I've said this many, many times before. I have no complaints about the people who work at my mother's nursing home. They are excellent. But I also don't want to write an email and accusing anybody of stealing my mother's bras. They're running riot through the halls, flipping my mother's bras all around, or something like that. No. So when I go over tomorrow for a visit, I'm going to go through her closet, and I'm actually going to physically count the number of bras she has in there. If I don't find more than 3 in there, then I am going to just write a nice note. I'm not accusing anybody anything. Things happen in these places. But just to make them aware of the fact that, hey, this is getting a little on the pricey side. What can be done kind of a deal. I'll just put it out there. The things I have to do. A man should never, ever have to concern himself about a bra. Okay? Unless he's trying to figure out how to get it undone. Yeah. I'm not going there. Never. Okay, so what else happened this week? Oh yeah, and Mom's fine. We had the gang dinner party. I call it the gang. It's 3 couples of friends that we get together every so often and have dinner at somebody's place. We haven't been to dinner with each other for a while, so we decided we would do it. And when people come, as you know, I like to make them do things that are creative. And so we did what they know is an art attack. That's what I call it. But this time, instead of it being a paper craft, we did wall hangings doing what's actually technically called raw edge applique. No sewing involved. I wasn't letting them go near my sewing machine. Simple as that. But anyways, they worked on their little wall hangings. I had everything pre-prepared for them, and they turned out really nice. They did a really nice job, and I think they were very pleased with themselves, and I think they had some fun doing it too. So that was nice, and we had a great evening. Dinner turned out spectacular. There was a little touch and go moment. We were basically doing beef tenderloin in the sous vide, and which always makes, if you don't know what a sous vide is, look it up. It's a hot water bath basically that cooks your meat, but it is the best investment you could ever make in cooking, especially if you like steak or those kind of things, or finer cuts of meat, and you have trouble, getting it exactly the way you want it. If you want it medium rare, if you want it medium well, you put it in the sous vide, you set it for that, and it does it perfectly. Comes out tender, flavorful, excellent. And I'm not even being sponsored by a company that sells sous vides. It's just the way it is. Well, we like, with this kind of food, we like béarnaise sauce. Now, I have made béarnaise sauce from scratch before and failed miserably. It curdles on you. You're dealing with eggs and hot things, and there's a moment when of no return, that you've got a sauce or you've got curdled sauce. So I buy it in the package. You just add water and butter, and away you go. Comes out perfect every time. Or so I thought. Walter was making the béarnaise sauce. He had 2 packages of it. He made up the first one, and he goes, uh-oh. And he says, can you take a look at this? Do you think that's curdled? Oh, yeah, that's curdled. Okay, throw it away. Start another one. Does the second batch. It curdles. I'm going, wait. This is in a package. It never curdles. Why is it curdling now? This is weird. So this is 15 minutes before our guests are to arrive. So off he rips down to the grocery store to get some more packages of béarnaise sauce. Gets them back home, reads again the directions on the back and realizes, oops, he read the directions incorrectly. He wasn't putting in enough water. Therefore, that's why it was curdling. So once he figured that out, it was fine. But just in case, he also bought some peppercorn sauce. He did that as well. So disaster averted. Of course, Walter is excellent baker, and he made a pumpkin cheesecake, and he used about 3 different recipes that he combined, and it was the piece of resistance. It was the highlight of the dinner, I guess. It always is. So anyways, everybody had a really good time. It was good to see everybody, and dinner parties are exhausting. I haven't done one in quite a while. I was pretty much zonked the next day, and I had to go and teach my art journaling class. So needless to say, last night when I got home, and you might notice it if you watch Stephen and Walter live, I'm a little out of it. God, when I was younger, this was not a problem. So I said to Walter, okay, too old to start throwing dinner parties again. Next time, we cater it. We get some really good-looking people to come and serve and cook. Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But, again, my wicked imagination. Okay, so that was the dinner party. And, of course, I mentioned the art journaling class, which was great to see all the ladies again. And they were all excited to be back. And we've already planned the next couple of art journaling classes. What we're going to do. The next one, I'm going to show them how to make a little mini journal, little mini art journal. That's kind of fun to do out of a couple of pieces of paper. I think I showed you a few weeks ago the book I got, The Art of the Fold. And so that's where I got the idea from. And yeah, I think it'll be great. And then one lady brought in a birthday card that she got from another one of the people in the group that was done in a tin, like an Altoid, is that how you what you call them, those little mints? And it was really cute. It's an altered tin. Now, I've seen these kind of projects before. In fact, I think I've done some in past years, but everybody was very enthused with it, so we've decided that in November we're going to do altered tins. So that's the amazing thing about this group. I don't have to do much with them because they just take an idea and run with it. And over the time, we've been doing this now for, I think this is going into our 3rd year, it has evolved, which is amazing to see because now it's just not me showing them a technique. They share techniques with each other and with the group as a whole. They come up with the ideas for the classes and things like that. And that's really makes it, I think, a little bit unique as a class. It's not so much a class as it is more like a socializing setup. It's a sort of a sharing and sharing our knowledge, showing new techniques, and just a collaborative environment. And so that's great. It makes it a lot of fun, really. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, tomorrow night I'm going to the show, but I'm not going to go to see a movie. I'm going to the show because Margaret Atwood, who's probably our #1 Canadian author, you may know her better as the creator of the really popular television series called The Handmaid's Tale. The first season, there's been 3 seasons of The Handmaid's Tale. Excellent program. If you've never seen it, do find what it comes on in your area. And the first season was based on her book, The Handmaid's Tale, that she wrote back in about 1987 or that kind of thing. Well, the next 2 seasons, she is an executive producer and a consultant writer for the show or whatever. And so they've gone beyond the first book with the book. She's coming out on tomorrow, September the 10th, with the sequel to the book, 30 years later kind of a thing. called Testament. But she's giving a live interview tomorrow night, and it's going to be broadcast at various Cineplex theaters around, our area. So I bought a ticket for this, and I'm going because, well, one, I was an English teacher, right? Two, I taught The Handmaid's Tale for many years to my seniors. And three, I love Atwood, and I love The Handmaid's Tale. So this will be kind of interesting. Tickets were a little pricey for something like this, I thought. I mean, I'm not sure. Walter usually gets the tickets when we go to a regular movie, but I think they're about $13 regularly. Well, this is almost 20. Actually, I got the seniors discount, so I paid $18 and some odd cents for this 2.5 hour interview thing. And she's very popular because I bought the tickets last week, and you can, in this particular Cineplex, you can reserve your seats. So I did, but there weren't a lot of seats to choose from. I got what I wanted, but they were filling up really fast, which I find phenomenal, especially out in this area. And sorry to anybody that lives in the area I'm in, but this area is not really considered high culture and literate, so to speak. I mean, no, that's bad. That's not really the case. But it's just, if this was downtown Toronto, I could see it. But out here in the burbs, so anyways, it should be very interesting. Walter's not going. That's his gym night. And, well, he likes The Handmaid's Tale as much as I do too. But when it comes to something like an interview with a writer, that's not his cup of tea. So I'm going by myself. That's okay. Okay, and we're going off this weekend to Kingston. Kingston's about 2.5 hours away from us to the east. And why are we going? Well, some childhood friends of mine that I'd known since I was about 5 years old, they live out there. We don't see each other very often. I think the last time we got together was maybe 3 years ago or so. So we've been invited out to their place to spend the afternoon, evening kind of a deal. And it's really going to be nice to see them. And you've already seen that I have made them some gifts that I'm taking out there, the Christmas table runners and things like that. I don't like to go empty-handed. And it should be a really nice time. So that's going to be great. And we're actually going to stay overnight in Kingston. We got a hotel room, and that wasn't easy to get. We booked this hotel room a month or so ago, and we didn't realize it, but there's some big event happening in Kingston that same weekend, and every one of the hotels is booked. We were lucky to get what we got. And their prices are all jacked up too, and a lot of them, like something like $300 a night for an Econo Lodge. Really? No. And we are not staying there. We found another one that's more reasonably priced. It's a little more out of the way. It's not like right downtown Kingston, but that's okay because we're just going there to sleep, and then we're on the road again in the morning to come back home. So no big deal. So that'll be fun. Okay, so that's about all I have for you this week. So Stephen and Walter Live this coming Sunday. We'll be back at our regular time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our topic, as I mentioned before, is Are We Alone in the Universe? So, the truth is out there. I think that's an X-Files reference. I don't know. I never watched X-Files. Anyways, that's what we'll be doing. So I hope you're able to join us. And yeah, we'll talk to you next Monday for the next vlog. Have a great week. Bye-bye for now.